Okay, hello, I'm David. I'm going to be teaching you today. I know this is an online lesson and those are always awkward, but I'm going to do my best and hopefully we can learn something. Just a bit about myself. I play the violin. I studied music after school and I got into freelancing, composing, writing music for TV and film, and now I'm specializing in music education and having a blast doing it. So, this lesson is going to be about key signatures. Let's have a look at the presentation and take it from there. Okay, key signatures, scales and key signatures. So, this little section is blocked off, but it says music theory for grade 7. So, let's have a look. How many of you know what a key signature is? Just let me know in the comments, I guess, if you know what that is. Okay, let's have a look at this picture. So what do we have here? This is a highway, right? Or freeway, I guess. And what can you tell me about freeways? What travels on freeways, right? We know... Anyone? Horses, maybe? No? Okay. We have cars and trucks and all sorts of different brands of cars. Everyone stays in their lane, hopefully. We've got some trucks that are very annoying and very slow. We've got some super fast cars that probably shouldn't be going that fast. The rule of the freeway is that everyone stays in their lane, right? If you cross over, you have to indicate, and you do that before crossing for everyone's safety, right? So the purpose of a lane is to keep everyone safe. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. What happens if we drive off the road? Never mind the lane. What happens if you drive off the road? Yeah, we wouldn't like that. Our car wouldn't like that, and our insurance would not like that. So, in music, everyone needs to stick to a lane. The metaphor there is everyone needs to be playing in the same key, because everyone playing in different keys can be quite annoying, really difficult to listen to. People will be playing the wrong notes and not knowing why. If we choose a key or a lane to stick in, then we all know what notes we can play. We know what scales to use. There's so much that goes with that. So when we say key signature, just think about this picture of the freeway. We mean a lane. What lane are we in? Are we in the fast lane, slow lane, the middle lane, whatever that's called? We just pick one and we all stick to it. And that's really important for music. Okay, let's have a look at this next slide. In this lesson, we will look at the importance of key signatures and how you will use it now and later on in your music. So before we move on, I just want to mention what we're talking about is important, and I'm sure every teacher says that about every topic, every lesson. But let's just think about this. You're studying music, which is something that can be understood worldwide. When it comes to key concepts, whatever language this is in, it remains the same. So if you learn this concept and you try to explain this to a Korean person with a translator, they will understand it and you will be able to play music together without even speaking the same language, because this is foundational to music. Everyone around the world is learning about key signatures if they're studying Western classical. And so that's what we're going through today. This connects you to the whole world of music. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, here are some examples. So we're throwing this word around a lot, so let's have a look at what it actually looks like. Here we have a scary chart of weird symbols. At the top, we've got something called sharps. No, they're not hashtags. This was used 400 years ago by the earliest composers. Those are called sharps. at the bottom we have flats. Flats. It kind of looks like a half a heart, the dagger in the middle, I guess. So on the left, we're only going to be learning the first three. Let's say C, G, and at the bottom, F. Okay, what can you tell me about G? How do you describe the key signature of G? That's right, G has one sharp. What about F? What can you tell me about the key signature of F? F has one flat. Okay, hopefully you said one flat. Okay, so what does this mean? What do the weird symbols mean? How do we get to the weird symbols? Let's have a look at the next slide. Okay, so here in the middle we've got C, and something I want you to remember from this lesson, if you forget everything, remember C major has 0 flats and 0 sharps. Let's repeat that. C major has 0 flats and 0 sharps. 0, nothing. That's our starting point, okay? So let's have a look. If we add 1 sharp, we go to the right, plus, positive, adding 1 to the right, we end up with G major. And G major has how many sharps? 1 sharp. Okay, if we take a step to the left, we subtract, we go down, we descend to the left, we end up with F has 1 flat. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. E, D, E, and that's all. Those are the available notes. Okay, can I play an F sharp in the key of F? Well, you can, but you shouldn't, because that would sound terrible. That's the wrong lane. In this key, in this piece, we're in the key of... Okay. Last question. Why do we need key signatures? Anyone want to answer that? Okay. Well, hopefully you answered. We need key signatures to help us play together without any mistakes, without any wrong notes. We need key signatures to tell us which lane to play in, which lane to stay in, and we need key signatures because it helps us to read. Yeah, answers like that. Okay, the summary. Well, that was a bit of a quick lesson, but I just wanted to touch on key signatures and the scary little world of music notation and something foundational. Key signatures is something you're going to be hearing for the rest of your music careers, so I'm glad we got to touch on that. One more time, key signatures are like lanes of a freeway. They give us the information we need about what notes to play. Accidentals, I mentioned, were flats and sharps. It is the language of music, it is the language of music notation that we use, and it's going to help you both now and in your future. I hope you learned something, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, or you've got my email address. Send me an email and ask me some questions. I've got some extra resources for you here. Musictheory.net, you can download the app. Really cool game. You can play for guessing key signatures and scales and note names and things like that. And I added in an extra video that you can watch in your own time that just recaps everything we just did. Hopefully that helped. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Hello, it's me again. This is the end of the video. Hopefully you made it to the end without falling asleep. This is the second part where I just want to go through the concepts of the teaching for understanding, the concepts I chose, and what I tried to use in the lesson. So the first one is the application of knowledge and skills in a way that is meaningful to their lives. I'll get to that in a second. The second is understanding the goal and what it is I want the students to learn. The third is performances of understanding, and the application of that through production and practice. Lastly, the ongoing assessment, just opening up the floor to ongoing assessment. So the lesson was designed so that it uses all four of these. And the first one I'll talk about is understanding the goal. So I spent a bit of time in the beginning of the lesson just going through what we're going to learn, just preparing the students for what's to come, and giving them an idea of, music theory is very complicated, especially for young learners. And so I don't want to overload them with too much. I just wanted to prepare them for a little bit of knowledge. This will be built on with over lessons, over time, over the semester, and hopefully something will make sense. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is the performances of understanding. Towards the end of the lesson, you'll see I added in some quick fire questions, and even in between slides, I ask questions about, I say, for example, G major has one sharp. And then a few minutes later, I'll say, okay, so how many sharps does this have? Can I play a flat in this, or can I do the opposite? Just to reinforce that idea, go back to the previous question, the previous content, and the other way of doing that was with the quizzes at the end. Showing the picture, how many sharps does this have? How many flats does this have? Just showing them immediately the practical application of that theory we just went through, so that it doesn't just stick in their head as this weird concept with no home, no real usage. That was that. Another thing I should mention is the application of knowledge. I mentioned that I started with preparing the kids for what we're going to learn. But in that preparation, in the beginning, I also went through how you're going to use this. Because, again, with theory being so complex, it's really a good idea to tell them why we're learning this difficult thing. Musicians can be very lazy and can switch off very quickly from experience. So I know to tell the students why we're learning this thing, or at least give them an idea of how important it is. Because not everything is as important as foundational knowledge. This was a lesson on foundational knowledge, and I tried to make it clear with what I mentioned. I mentioned the world application as well, how students from around the world, all that. And then lastly, ongoing assessment. I mentioned at the end of the slides that if you have any questions, to email me. I will have a teacher email for the students to use, ask questions back and forth in class as well. I know this was an online class, but to talk to me, ask questions. Do you understand this? What are you thinking of? Are you connecting it with anything else? I think that was the aim with that, just to open up the floor and to allow the kids to ask questions. I think that was a challenge as well, trying to balance the whole constructivism versus understanding, where I would try to explain a concept and then immediately ask a question for understanding, and then make sure they understand, make sure they're answering correctly, then feed them a little bit more, immediately elicit a response, try and connect it with other things, connect it with the worldview, connect it with the real life application of their instruments, for example. I think that was a balance of constructivism with understanding. It wasn't just a one lane direction spoon feeding type of lesson. So not fully interactive, but just maybe that's balanced. So anyway, that's my project. I will leave timestamps to each of my 4 concepts that I try to use, and hopefully that helps. Thank you.